If you are shouting to the heavens about how much you hate this country, then you do not need to be here. There's a difference between protesting injustice and protesting and supporting a terrorist organization that wants to kill us. What you don't have a right to do is climb that fucking flagpole and pull the United States flag down and put up a flag where the leadership is a terrorist organization. You do not have the right to do that. So it's thousands of years. But somehow, a 22-year-old exchange student named Kevin from Leeds is going to sit here and scream, "America's the problem," while holding a cardboard sign outside of a Chipotle in Brooklyn.
Find the colors, find the light. In the gray, we'll find our sight. Brutal banner, fierce words, shadows creep, streets unheard.
Welcome to Stay in the Gray podcast. I'm your host, Ryan, and I'm here to bring you raw conversations about life and those undeniable human truths. We dive into the chaos, one issue at a time, blending comedy, controversy, and the unexplainable. Get ready for transparent ideas straight from the gray areas where most answers are hiding. So stay curious, stay inquisitive, please stay laughing, stay in the gray. Come check it out. We'll see you there. Hey guys, April the 1st, 2025. Don't worry, there are no April Fool's jokes on this episode. They are getting annoying all over social media. That's all I'm seeing. And I'm about ready to be done with this day. Let's move on to April the 2nd. However, it is April 1st. And I want to talk about something that I've been avoiding. And we're going to do this thing. It will trigger some of you. But again, I just want to talk. So if you're willing to listen, come on board. And you know, if you're going to comment, make some, bullshit, yelling at me for whatever reason, then just don't. Just move on. But if you have something legitimate to say, go ahead. I can take it. And that is about the protests that are happening in the United States of America and the deportations as a result of some of those protests. The protests I'm referring to are in regards to the Palestinian and Israeli conflict still. It's still going on. It's still an issue. Our country, the United States, is divided over it, and it's caused issues. And so we're going to talk about it. It's setting college campuses ablaze with all of its chaos. Try again. Like I said, visas are being revoked. And the reason visas are being revoked is because somebody here on a student visa or a work visa is not protected under the First Amendment for freedom of speech with that. So if you're going to walk into this country and you're going to all of a sudden support groups that we've deemed to be terrorist organizations, and you are chanting "Death to America," and you are doing all sorts of other things, antagonizing innocent Jews in this country. If you have a problem with the government, that's fine, but you're going after innocent people on your campuses. This is not okay. This is grounds for getting kicked out, being uninvited. And there's nothing wrong with that. I'm gonna look at both sides of this, and I'm gonna try and stay neutral, which is what I do to a point. But I'm gonna go ahead and tell you right now that this podcast and myself included are pretty much pro-banning in most cases, but we'll talk about it. Let's get into it. Here's the deal. Students and workers on visas, like I mentioned, are protesting the injustice that is taking place in Gaza. Well, and that's their right. Or is it? Like I mentioned before, not exactly. If they're on a visa, it's not protected. And they're here on conditions, is another way to put it. And those conditions basically say, don't do what they're doing. If you are shouting to the heavens about how much you hate this country, then you do not need to be here. There's a difference between protesting injustice and protesting and supporting a terrorist organization that wants to kill us. I'll talk about a couple of examples. First off, there was a young lady named Ramisa Ozturk. I believe that was perfect Turkish. Although Turk is in her name, I just realized that. She's a Turkish PhD student at Tufts University. Apparently a very brilliant woman, had a lot going for her. She co-authored an article that was calling Israelis' actions state terrorism. Regardless of whether I agree or with her or not, I respect that opinion. The problem is now she's taken to the streets and she's protesting on behalf of Palestinians and Hamas. Hamas is a terrorist organization who was elected into power. It is not okay to jump out into the streets and side with the terrorist organization. I'm sorry, you don't have to like that, but that's the way it is right now. Boom. Visa gone for this young lady. I swooped in there like it was a finale of Homeland. She was gone. And a lot of people have a problem with that. A lot of people don't. So what I want to do is try and get to the bottom of whether that's the right action to take or whether that's an extreme. I just have a hard time with it when we're talking about a terrorist organization. I've said it a million times. I've said it already multiple times here in this show. These people do not want us alive. These people do not in any way think that the West, they literally are chanting for jihad against the infidels, which is us. I just have a hard time with that and allowing that to be just out there in our country, on our campuses, indoctrinating the minds of people that don't quite understand it. And that may be the biggest issue. I made jokes here. Sources confirm that calling for intifada, which I believe is another word for jihad, on U.S. soil while on F-1 visas might be a bad idea. It is. It's not an attack on academic freedom. Again, these people were invited here. They are simply being uninvited. The second one is a little more controversial, and that's where when it comes into play, where I'm going to try and stay neutral in this case and try and understand both sides. This is a man named Hamad Khalil. Many of you have already heard this name. He is a Columbia University grad student, and this is a different case because he has a green card. His wife is also here legally, and I believe she's even a citizen at this point. The issue I have with this gentleman is that even though you're here and you have a green card, you're protesting and you've got banners that are aligning with Hamas, not even just Palestine, Hamas. That's the problem. It's not the Palestinian people, the innocent people that are there who have been dealing with this conflict for a very long time. You're now supporting the leadership there, which wants Americans dead. I have a problem with that. And apparently he's also harassing the Jewish students on campus as well. Again, legally is where we come into an issue because, yes, he does have a green card, so deportation perhaps shouldn't be the option. Well, some people agree with that and some people don't agree with that, and he's still being held. The part that I have an issue with is it tugs on my heartstrings as a compassionate person, although some of you like to tell me I'm not. I believe deep down I am, and he has a child on the way. He or she will be here very soon. From that standpoint, I want this man to be able to be there for his wife and his children. At the same time, it angers me that he had to do this bullshit. I don't care if you believe a certain way. You have to do it respectfully, and you have to do it understanding that you are in this country and you were invited here, and you do not disrespect that country. There's a way to do it. There's a way to talk about any injustices you feel have been done. But to go in here and align with the terrorist organization that hates us is not the way to do it. This is the part, there's always a part after the story where I just gave you a serious story. I gave you some emotion to it, the child on the way, things like that. And then there's always the stupid people that come into play. And in this case, the stupid people are graduates of Columbia University who are literally ripping up their diplomas because of Columbia's decision and because of the decision that's been made to call out these protests. I have nothing to say except what a bunch of idiots. You pay upwards of $200,000 to go to an Ivy League school like Columbia. Many people can't get in there. Many people don't even try. And something like this, and I laugh because 99% of you have absolutely no clue what's going on. 99% of you have never been there. And 99% of you, frankly, are maybe a little lower than 99 on this one, but a lot of you just want to bitch about the new establishment in charge. And although it's been a complete establishment effort when it comes to the United States government and its relationship with Israel, again, whole nother topic. I'm simply talking about the protests and the deportation of people that have green cards and people that have visas. That's it. We can get into the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. It's just not going anywhere. We can talk about it to no end. So they're ripping it up. I can't, and I apologize because I saw videos of these people, ripping it up like they're showing us, and the only people they're hurting are themselves because they look like fools, and obviously you don't have to have the piece of paper to prove that you have your degree from that university. So I'm not sure what this is doing, but you do you. This is a country where people come in to go to school. They want to be here. The country literally lets you in to use everything in this country. You use roads. You use the universities, the campuses, anything and everything in this country now you're using. The internet. You have access to everything in this country. And it's like saying, hey, thanks. I'm going to go ahead and how about this? Taking down the American flag and flying a Palestinian flag. This is enraging. This is absurd. The fact that this is going on and that nobody seemed to care much. People cared, but nobody seemed to care much when it came to the people to deliver the news or the people that could stop it, or the people that can make sure that the ones that did it are punished accordingly. This is not okay. I'm going to give you an example, and it happened at Chapel Hill, North Carolina, and this was where the American flag was pulled down of the administration building in North Carolina, University of North Carolina, and the poor interim chancellor, I believe, I'm not sure if he was the chancellor, if he was the president of the university, he had to go in himself and try and battle to get this flag put back up. Our own country's flag put back up. I don't care at all if you want to side with the Palestinians. I don't even care if you decide that for whatever reason you're okay with Hamas. Doesn't make any sense, and I think you're an asshole. But that's your right. What you don't have a right to do is climb that fucking flagpole and pull the United States flag down and put up a flag where the leadership is a terrorist organization. You do not have the right to do that. And I guarantee you, if you keep up the shenanigans, you'll get yours. But these are the problems. I'm sitting here telling you, I want to stay neutral. I want to listen. But when you go and do something like this, I don't have that interest. And that's what's happening, is that much of the country is turning on you and saying, whoa, 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 you've gone too far. I mean, it's like showing up to the wedding, slapping the groom and thanking him for the food that you're there for. It's not cool. It's not okay. The funniest part of all this, and I say funny in jest, the ironic part of all of this is that these people are complaining about something that's been happening for thousands of years, like literal centuries and centuries and centuries of political and religious and historical and physical conflict between groups over land. This is not debatable. If anything, the Israelis and Israel were there first, considering that Islam, hence Palestinian people, didn't even come to be until about 630 something. But that's not something people want to talk about. It's only this current little window of time where we've had the most violent part of the conflict when it comes to the civilians, in my opinion. And I don't know. I don't know what happened in 236. I don't know if people were dying the way they are now. So it's thousands of years. But somehow, a 22-year-old exchange student named Kevin from Leeds is going to sit here and scream, "America's the problem," while holding a cardboard sign outside of a Chipotle in Brooklyn. What are you doing by coming here and doing that? You're not going to solve anything. Are you that desperate to virtue signal that you need to rip apart the very country that has allowed you to be here to study? The very country that has accepted you and offered all of its resources to you. Get over it and stop with the virtue signaling. It's becoming a problem. Another funny thing to me, and I'm trying to figure out a way to say this without really upsetting everybody, but all of these activists that are here on visas and even the green cards to a point, they sit there and they say, free speech, free speech. But like I mentioned, it doesn't apply to you. You're not a citizen. You don't have that benefit. And all of you that want to sit here and tell me that that's incorrect, go ahead. But you should maybe look it up first before you look foolish. The Constitution does not come in the student welcome packet when you arrive. So this is interesting. Good luck to all of you that are doing this, by the way. Apparently, the U.S. government is using AI to monitor the posts and facial recognition of these very people. Obviously, you can't go online either and do this. So, that being said, if you flew in on a visa and you're hashtagging Jihad Now and you're shouting from the river to the sea, guess what? They got your face in a folder that said goodbye. Not smart. So maybe you should stay off of social media as well. I'm just giving you the information. So let's talk. I've set it up, and now I'm going to play neutral. Why are people upset? Well, there are a few reasons, and let's talk about those before we talk about why people are accepting of this. People are upset because they are claiming academic freedom. They're saying revoking visas over political opinions ruins the spirit of open debate. Again, it's not domestic citizens who are being silenced. They're guests who are being uninvited. There is a difference, and you have to respect that whether you like it or not. That's one reason. The next reason is, people in these universities are now panicking, and so people are really uncomfortable with that notion that their students are freaking out. Students are claiming they're scared to post like memes, funny memes about Palestine because in Israel because they're going to be rounded up if they have a visa. Well, I think you just need to use your head a little bit. I can't imagine that you post some funny meme about Netanyahu, the prime minister of Israel, and all of a sudden you're rounded up by ICE. I don't see it. But if you're hashtagging and you're out there and you're calling for the death of Americans or the death of Jews, and you are siding with Hamas and you're talking about all these things, anti-American rhetoric, why would you do it? That's my question. Why is it worth it? What are you doing? Use your head. You got into this country to go to school for a reason. I think you should use it. I just feel like if you're people on visas, quick story. I was on a visa the other way. I went over to the UK and to Scotland to do a master's degree. I had to get a student visa. When I was there, man, I didn't want to fuck up at all. They would just, you're out of here. So I was very cautious about anything I did, and there wasn't anything like this even going on. This is kind of a big deal. I tell you what, somebody, a cop came up to me and thought that I was one that threw a cigarette butt down and was littering. And I was freaked out because even though it wasn't me, she thought it was. And she's like, well, I need to go to the tape. I was like, fine, go to the tape. And apparently that was enough for her to see my intensity, to know that that tape was not going to show anybody. It wasn't going to show me discarding a cigarette butt. But that was scary, just that. So maybe if you're here on visa, you should just kind of tone it down and just talk about it with your friends over a beer at the bar. And of course, here we go, racism accusations. This is only targeting Muslims and Arabs. No, it's not. How many people are out there from all over the world protesting this thing? Yes, I mean, I would say that the majority of our own citizens have no tie to anything Muslim or Arab. Homeland Security came out and said, no, we revoked a French anarchist's passport for supporting Antifa last year. It's all over. It's not just this race thing is just, it's unbelievable. I mean, it's no matter what happens, it's racist, no matter what. And this isn't the case. Obviously, the two players in the game, one of them is an Arab country or an Arab people with extreme Muslim leaders. So yes, there's going to be a lot of those people involved, but that doesn't mean that it's this racist. I mean, this is just what it is. And lastly, I think a lot of people are going, well, where does this end? Here we are, and you're just taking people out of the country who we already welcomed here because of their opinions. Again, I'm telling you why people are upset. My issue is they've crossed the line. But this is what people are saying. Well, what if the authorities don't like climate protesting? What if they don't like, vegan protesting? And no one's going to kick a vegan out or a climate change protester for that. But that's the issue. Where's the line? And I think the line is simple. I think it's the support of groups that have, rocket launchers pointed at us saying the West needs to die. That's where my line is. If you are protesting veganism, I think you're safe. Now, here we go. For the other side, these are the people. I think I'm leaned a little bit that way, as has been proven in my babbling. But these are the people that don't see a problem with the way this is going. These are the people that want action, that believe we cannot sit here anymore and just take it and just be so concerned about everybody being offended that we turn the other way when we have people here that want to do bad things to us. So where I agree is if, again, I've said it a million times, if you're here on a visa and support a group that the U.S. has designated a terrorist organization, it's not freedom of speech. It's a risk assessment, period. This isn't hard to understand. You can't show up to the host country waving a flag of its enemy. I think that would apply anywhere in the world. Try and go over there. Try and walk through Iran waving an American flag. I'm not sure that will go well for you, but if you do it, please report back so I can talk about it on this show. It's just bad manners. I love my little jokes I write down here. Like I said, and I'll use another analogy. I mean, imagine being invited to dinner and getting up on the table and saying, you suck, and I'm going to support the people that want to burn this house down. It's exactly what it's like. I'm trying to give you these analogies so that the people that don't get it can try and understand. Okay? It's not about lack of compassion. If anything, it's it's the people who are protesting who are not being respectful and compassionate. There are innocent people on our side too. That's what this is all about, injustice, innocent people. Well, you're hurting innocent people over here. I get it. I understand. There is a line between injustice and supporting terrorism. And I understand that many of you are going to say, that's what we're doing. We're protesting injustice. It has nothing to do with Hamas. I urge you to go and take a look at some of the signs that are being held, some of the things that are being chanted. And I beg you to listen to that and go, all right, maybe I see that line that Ryan was talking about. And then maybe just change your perspective and encourage people to protest respectfully about this believed injustice that's been happening for a certain number of years. And that, that's the gray area we live in. And I'm going to do a selfless plug of the show, the name of the show. We live in this gray area, but supporting Hamas while on a visa, it's not gray. That's not a gray area. That's fucking fire truck red, if you will. Again, I'll say it. Protest Israeli policies all you want. I still don't think that you know everything that's going on. You hear one side a lot of times, and I admit that the other side does the same. Israelis tend to believe their government and their press, their publications. Like-minded probably to you in that regard. You listen to Palestinian people, publications, press as well. And so I challenge both sides to kind of cross over and say, all right, look, this is getting silly. Both sides have innocent civilians. Both sides have leadership that needs some work. And here the United States is stuck in the middle. We have a good relationship with Israel. We just do. And a lot of it is because of the treatment of Jewish people. We do not stand for anti-Semitism. And a lot of people on the Palestinian side can't stand to hear that. But that doesn't mean we can't stand for you as well. It's like I always say with Ukraine and Russia, they one of them, it doesn't have to be one or the other. They can both be assholes in this case, and they are. That's for another show. So, I'm pausing for effect here. I just talked about the idea that both of them are to blame, and I really believe that. And I had it written. I kind of went off on it before. I had it here written down to say, but I really believe that. So I'll end that part of it with an offer. Come on the show. If you think that I have it all wrong, I had a young, lovely Israeli woman on about a year ago after, I guess it was right after October 7th had happened. And she came on and gave her side. She has family there. She's from there. She has the accent. This is somebody that I want to hear from because she has credibility. What I don't want to hear, who I don't want to hear from, are these college students who don't know shit about it. And I'm trying to say that in a nice way, but there's really no nice way to say it, is there? If you are Palestinian or you have family that's Palestinian, I want to hear your side. You don't have to come on if you don't want to, but write it out on any of the social media. Shoot me a message on our YouTube videos that come out and explain it to me. Explain how this isn't at least both sides' responsibility and how these protests can be tamed down a little bit. I want to hear. I mean, I don't get it. I don't get this anti-U.S. that's going on, and it's not just this topic. I'm having a very hard time with it, and a lot of the shows that I do have to do with that these days. I don't understand why we're against our own country. And so the U.S. is drawing hard. We're drawing hard lines now on a lot of stuff, and it's frustrating a lot of people who consider themselves globalists, who think we're alienating our allies, which we're not. If anything, they've been alienating us, tariffing us, doing all these things and taking advantage of us. And we're just pushing back and saying that ain't happening anymore. And I think this is the case here. People are so quick to jump on the U.S. For what they're doing, although it's in the United States' best interest to look after itself first. I have some Muslim friends who said just that, and I respect them more than they know. I talk to them when these things come up, and I definitely look forward to having them on the show. They're not Palestinian, but they are Muslim, and so to hear myself, who is close with them, who is part of the West, say, man, I don't get this Muslim extremism. They don't like it. It makes the religion look bad. They don't like extremism of any kind. Of course, we have lots of discussions about how Israel can be viewed by a lot of people as an extremist government. That's a different story. Let's talk about it. But they are saying the same thing. They're like, look, you've got to do what you've got to do. Whether it's because of politics, whether it's because of just national security, and they get it. And I respect that. And they swear to me up and down that the majority of them are like that. And I believe them. And I can't wait to go over there and visit. And I hope that I hope I'm treated okay. It's something that, again, has me thinking about all the issues and this show. I'm trying to give you a little bit of everything. The last couple of episodes, I've given you AI. I've given you talk about cancel culture. I've talked about whether college is worth it these days. I really look forward to having some guests on. In fact, I have one that I'm lining up that just kind of happened today, actually, and I'm very excited about it. And it's your typical tragedy, and it was hard for me to hear her tell me about it, much less I can only imagine what it'll be like to hear about it on a show. And I'm getting that kind of set up on how I want to approach that. I'm excited about this show. I'm excited about where it's moving, but I want to keep talking. I want to keep giving you both sides. Yes, tonight I'm always going to give you a little bit of an opinion here or there, and this is an opinion that I established about the protests after reading and researching and watching videos and hearing other people talk and listening to my Muslim friends and listening to American friends who don't have any tolerance for it. And I've given you reasons that both sides have issues. And all I ask with any topic is that you take that and you think about it. And if you still come up with the notion that, you know what, Ryan's full of shit, there's no excuse for deportation if somebody's over here on a visa, that's fine. At least you listened. At least you understood that my point of view may not be the same. And that's all I'll say. So, again, lastly, one more reminder. Protest injustice all you want. Use your freedom of speech. I'm not here to take that from you. In fact, a lot of people who align with the current administration have been fighting their free speech ever since Donald Trump came down that escalator so many years back, announcing that he was going to run for president. But you don't have to cosplay as a Hamas spokesperson. You don't have to align with them. You can say, I do not support Hamas, but I also don't support the injustice happening to the civilians. So try and do it that way. And we'll move forward together and talk about it. Like I said, if you have anything to say, say it to me, and maybe we'll get you on. But like and subscribe, do all those things. Every single thing you do helps. And like I said, I don't know exactly the direction the show's going. I'm all over the place, and I like it that way. I'm going to talk about everything and anything. I'm going to hopefully get Trey back on here a little bit. I'm going to have some guests. We're going to have a great time. We're going to try and laugh a little bit and have some fun during all this chaos. So until next time, I've got a whole list of topics that we're going to hit. So I hope you are ready for that and that you're doing well. I'll see you next time. Love you guys.
Fierce words, shadows screams, screams unheard.